Okay, so for today's setup guide, I'm going to dive right into EmuDeck for Windows. So over time, people was asking me if I can do a setup guide for EmuDeck for Windows, or if I've used it and what it's like. So I've gone to their Patreon and I bought a copy of it, and I'll get into that during the video. But for this video, it's going to be a very basic setup guide, showing you the installation process, where we get it from. I'm going to be going through controller settings, how to add your games, and everything else which comes with a very basic setup guide for EmuDeck. If you use something like Retrobat or Batacera, I recommend you checking out this video because you might just like it. It's a very good front-end system, so check this one out. Okay, so before I start today's setup guide for EmuDeck for Windows, make sure to hit notifications, subscribe and like if you like today's video. So we're looking at EmuDeck then, so obviously this came out for Steam Deck, exclusive to Steam Deck, and on Steam Deck it's pretty much superb, I love it. So today I'm going to be actually running this for the first time, and I'm going to do a setup guide for you and give you my impressions of it. So we're going to go over to the EmuDeck.com website, and if we scroll down, this is the only way you're going to be able to get this if you become a Patreon. So just click on the Patreon link, and if we scroll down, the option I'm going to be using for this to test out EmuDeck for Windows is most popular one, which is Early Access Tier. And that's going to give us access to EmuDeck for Windows and a few other features. So let's just join this one. Now this is the part where you're going to need to put in your card details. Now personally, just to test this today, I'm going to be using Pay Monthly. So once you've signed up, you should get membership confirmed which pops up. So let's just get started on this. So once you've signed up, as we can see, we're now in the Patreon community for this. So we got some perks here, and we can join the Discord community to discuss things EmuDeck related, obviously. So let's actually go to download EmuDeck for Windows. So I'm going to go to EmuDeck EA links, and once we're inside early access links, I'm going to just scroll down and I'm going to download EmuDeck EA Windows.bat. Anyways, we got the .bat file, so if I just close out of this website, and what I'm going to do is just double left click on this EmuDeck EA Windows.bat file, and Windows protected your PC, so more info and run anyway, and just let the terminal pop up, and this is now going to do its thing. Okay, and if you pop up user account control, get from Windows, just select yes on this part. And as we can see, we got a new setup window just popping up now, so just let this part install, and this is all heading into my C drive programs folder. And it's now downloading EmuDeck, and as we can see from this terminal just here, this is telling us what's installing and how long it's going to be taking. So this is it, we're actually in the EmuDeck setup now, everything's downloaded, and here we go. So we're now into EmuDeck, and we need to log in to Patreon as it says. So I'm going to log in with Patreon, and log in with Patreon again. So next up, we're going to see EmuDeck token would like to, and just allow this part. So after we've popped in our Patreon details, it's going to automatically give us a code. If I just make a copy of this, so copy the clipboard, and I'm going to just keep this safe. So I'm going to open up a text document, and as we can see, I've now got that text document. So I'm going to just keep that. So file, save as. Now we need to copy this now into the login to Patreon with the token. So check token, and here we go. So just like the Steam Deck version of EmuDeck, this will look very familiar to you. And here we go, we're actually in. So welcome to EmuDeck for Windows. So what I'm going to do with this part is just go to the easy modes for now, and I'm going to left click on that, and that's going to install and configure everything automatically for us. So just highlight easy mode and select continue. And here we go, so we've now got the option where to install this to. So I'm going to just install it to my C drive for now. If you want to install it on an external drive, then select your external drive. I'm going to just go for C for now, like I say. So highlight that and press next. Now, your next option is selecting your device. So I'm using, as you know, Windows PC, Windows 11. So I'm going to select Windows PC and press finish. And as we can see, it's now creating configuration files and it's going to start installing Emulation Station. So let's just leave this part be. Okay, so that process of installing everything is pretty much done, so we can pretty much now close down this terminal. And what we're going to do next is go to Start Input Desktop Configuration, and we're going to press Next. And for me, if you want to sync between EmuDeck installations, say for example you want to say between this version and your Steam Deck version, just select Sync. Me, for now, I'm going to press None. And I'm going to go to Copy Games. So for this part, we can add games using Steam ROM Manager. What I'm going to actually do for now is just skip for now. Okay, let's just close that up here for now, and you're going to find on your desktop an EmuDeck shortcut. If we open this up, this is going to bring us directly straight back into EmuDeck for Windows, as we can see. Okie doke, so by opening up EmuDeck, we can then go into various different settings, and we can launch different applications. But for now, what I'm more interested in is actually open up Emulation Station. Okay, so next up, we're going to head over to the Steam website, and we need to install the Steam app for this. So let's just click on Install Steam. This, and press on the pop-up which comes up, and we're going to press Next on Welcome to Steam Setup. Choose your language, English obviously for me, press Next. And I'm going to leave this to the destination folder, so by default it's going to my C drive. I'm going to press Install and Run Steam. Okie doke, so the next part we need to do is just sign into Steam. So we're now in Steam, as we can see, and what I'm going to do next is just close this down. Okay, so we've now got EmuDeck installed, and we've also got Steam app installed. So where is Emulation Station? How do we get into it? So to get into this, I find the easiest way around this is just go into your search bar and typing in Emulation Station. And if I go to Open File Location, inside here is where all the shortcuts for the emulators have installed to when we did that EmuDeck installation setup. So highlight Emulation Station D, just right click on it, and what we're going to do is go to Show More Options, Send to, Desktop Create Shortcut. Okie doke, so let's check out Emulation Station. Here we go, so the first thing you're going to see is we need to either change the ROM directory, where to put our games, where to put our ROMs, or it's telling us there where that location is, where we should put our ROMs. So by default, it's in C drive, and the folder is called Emulation. So if we close out of here, and we're going to go to the C drive, and here's the emulation folder. And here is everything, so we can pop our games into the ROMs folder, and as we can see, each one of these folder represents the systems that Emulation Station through EmuDeck supports, and there is a lot here, pretty impressive stuff. And obviously if we come out of here, particular systems are going to need BIOS files. So largely loose files can just be placed in there, with the exception of systems such as Switch, Ryujinx and Yuzu. So you will need to put firmware and keys for those particular systems into their subfolders. So let's actually test out Emulation Station. So what I'm going to do is just go to ROMs, and I'm going to try out Commodore 64. So if I just scroll down to C64, which is my favourite personal computer of all time, I'm going to just paste in a Commodore 64 game. So there we go. Now I'm going to go back to Emulation Station. Okay, and this time we can now see Commodore 64, so I'm using my Google Stadia controller for this, and it's detected it automatically. So what I'm going to do is press A to go into Commodore 64. Now I've got artwork in a preview video for this, so to scrape artwork you don't need to sign up for Screen Scraper like you would on say Batacera or Retrobat, but instead we can access the main menu by pressing Start, Scraper, and then you've got different options here. So we got Screen Scraper, but like I said, we don't need to sign up using this version of Emulation Station. And if we go down to scrape these systems, the more systems, or rather the more ROMs or games you put into place, the longer this list is going to become. So for example, the way I scraped this was just selecting Commodore 64, pressing back, and under content settings we can choose what to scrape. So by default everything is selected, including videos, preview videos and everything else. So to scrape, all we're going to do is go to Start, and as you can see, that's been successfully scraped. Now, say you can't scrape your artwork, let me tell you how to do this. If you press Select Game List Options, edit the game's metadata, the first part of this you're going to see is the name of the game. So let's say you've got lots of letters and numbers. What we can do is edit the name of the game and put something a bit more suitable in place. And then simply go down to Save, and then go back in to edit this game's metadata, and then just go back to scrape, and then it should pick up some artwork for your game, or at least give us various different styles of artwork. So for example, let's just go to the middle one. So just select, and that's how you're going to get your artwork and preview videos. And then obviously just save and apply, and that's how you do it. So let's look at the main menu settings again. If we go down to UI settings, Theme Downloader, proceed, we can actually download a range of themes. So we can make Emulation Station look a little bit better than its default theme. So there's lots of different themes to download here. One of my favorites personally is the CoinOps one. So to install this, just press A and let it download the theme, which can take a little bit of time. Okay, so that's now been installed. So by pressing B, I can come back, and to apply this theme, if I just drop down to Theme Set, you'll find your themes here that you just downloaded. So I'm going to select CoinOps, which I've just installed. And now I'm going to press B on my controller and back again, and there we go. And you'll also find, once you've downloaded the theme, if we go inside of the system, it looks a little bit better than it did by standard default theme. Now let's go back into main menu. This time, if we go to Input Device Settings, we can select the controller type. So mine is being picked as an Xbox, but you've got a range of different options here to use as your controller type. And if we go down to Configure Keyboards and Controllers, we can actually now set up the controller correctly, which you'll need in most cases. So just press yes, and now you're going to see this screen. And do what it says, so just hold down any button on your controller, and there we go. So we can now configure the controller correctly. So just do what it says. So we're going to map the controller. I'm going to press up on my D-pad, down, left, right. For a view, if you're using an Xbox controller, then press the button it says. And if you should come to an option where you've run out of buttons, then just simply keep your finger pressed on a button and it will come up as not defined. So okay, back. If we go down to other settings and go into alternative emulators, say C64 for example, we've now got several different options of emulator or rather RetroArch core we can use with this, and we also got the ability to download some as well, such as Frodo for C64. Now under other settings, if you want to apply some anti-aliasing to Emulation Station, if you just select 2 times or 4 times, and just remember if you've got a lower end computer then this might cause some lag. I'm going to select 4 times and let's go back, and like it says we need to restart Emulation Station, so quit Emulation Station, and if we go back into Emulation Station, that anti-aliasing is now been applied. So go to main menu, other settings, and as we can see we've now got 4 times. Now let's actually open up a game and see if this is working. So let's just press A to open up Bonjack. And as it says, retro achievements could be enabled, but I'm going to get onto that in a minute. So to exit the game, it's a combination of your hotkeys, and as we can see that's working fine. So if you're interested in playing the old microcomputer games such as C64, Spectrum, Amstrad, Amiga, then if you press select on your controller whilst you're in the game, it will normally bring up a virtual keyboard, and that's how you do it. So let's exit out of Emulation Station and let's go back into the EmuDeck shortcut. Now once we're in here, we can actually apply things like bezels to our game. So the first option, quick settings, configure. Now you'll only find this is for certain systems, but you'll see for yourself that, for example, if you're playing Game Boy, you can turn bezels on or off, as so. And if you're playing 3DS games, then you've got the option here to select 16:9 ratio or 4:3. We also got LCD handhelds, so things like Game Boy Advance, we can change settings just there like that. And we can also apply CRT to 2D games. And if we go to the EmuDeck store, get free games, you can there download several homebrew games. Let's just go to Super Nintendo. And on Super Nintendo, you've got a range of homebrew games there. Some of them's good, some of them's not so good. I recommend Yule, that's a very good game. Go back. If we scroll right down to the bottom of this menu, we're going to find Retro Achievements. If we go to more info, now Retro Achievements is a very awesome website where you can earn achievements for playing your retro games. And it's literally doing just as it says, just click in here, that's going to take you to the website. And from here, you can sign up for free and you'll get an email, and then you can just use their username, and then you can just pop your username and password and then just log in. And for particular games, you'll find that you're playing a game at some point and you'll get a little window pop up and it will say you've earned a certain achievement, just as like you can see on screen right here. So that's it for my setup guide today and getting you up and running using EmuDeck for Windows with Emulation Station. My impressions is pretty much the same as what they are on the Steam Deck. It's a very, very awesome front-end system. I love it on Steam Deck, and this particular beta version which I'm using is very good so far. So the stable release of this one is coming out before the year 2024. If you've got £3.60 to spare, then it's definitely worth your while grabbing a copy of this. It's got a very nice interface. Scraping games can be a little bit slow on the Steam Deck, but it didn't seem too bad on the Windows version of this. So anyways, if you liked today's setup guide, hit notifications, subscribe and like. Also check me out on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok and Twitter. But until next time, stay retro.